Converting rental properties into actual listings. Yes, you can do it. I've done it for a very long time. One of the coolest ways, I think, to get business fast. And look, these next few podcasts, and if you're watching on YouTube, sessions are all going to be about getting listings. And yes, I know half of the country has a lot of inventory and the other half, a lot of buyers. So I want you to remember, if you price homes right, they will sell. It's just a matter of getting the seller to realize that the market has shifted. Now, with that, I do have this great outline. Let me pull it up because I wrote this out and then I put it into a great sheet for you so that you can do a great job converting these. This is from my personal experience. You're going to see this outline. First, I want to talk to you about sources. When you build out for rent by owner target list, like these are the people you're going to go after. I call it FRBOs. I wish it was Furbies. Like, remember that little Furby creature? If not, don't worry about it. You may want to Google it or ask ChatGPT. Target list comes from, for me, RedX. Number one, Zillow. Actually, a lot of listings that we've gotten from people putting up their homes for rent on Zillow. I've gotten from there directly. Craigslist, not as useful as much anymore, but still not bad. And Facebook Marketplace, believe it or not. Those are the places that homeowners go and put up the homes for rent. RedX just pulls the data from all of these different places and then lines them up for you and you can call them. But you don't need to sign up for RedX. RedX just makes it easier. If you need a code, I might have one. I have no idea, but you can message me and I'll look for one. All right. For me, I'm looking at making sure that once I've got the list, I know exactly what I'm going to say. And there are three things that I go through. I want you to write these down. I have them as a number 2. It says on my sheet, pain point discovery. But really, in essence, like this is the magic sauce. A lot of people don't know what to say when they're calling renters because they don't typically work with investors, but that's okay. You don't need to. As you start calling, you'll start understanding the questions that you're going to get. I have 2 or 3 often asked questions at the bottom of this, but let me take you through the 3 main questions you're going to ask to get to the next spot. Okay, let me, for some reason on my screen, it said review mode. That was the weirdest thing. All right. Question number 1, when you're calling up, I'm going to use Joe and Joanne like I always do. Hey, Joe, I saw your rental on 123 Brilliant Street, still advertised. I'm a real estate agent. And by the way, I don't hide that, okay? So I tell them straight up front. I'm a real estate agent, and I focus on leases and listings. And you can tweak that. Sometimes I say I focus on converting leases to listings, or I focus on helping out landlords, or I focus on leases, right? Whatever you want to say there, that's okay. Just test it out. I'm always testing it out. I'm focusing on converting leases to listings. How's it going with your rental right now? And I just shut up. And then they tell me, they'll say, well, it's going great. Or, Tristan, it's not going too great. Man, it's hard. We've had it for 30 days. It looks like we're actually going to lease it. I'm like, great. But if at any point they say, oh, it's a little tougher than we thought, that is your open door. That is your open door so that you can ask, well, tell me more about that. What's going on? Right? And they'll tell you, man, it's been really tough to lease, or the last tenants we had were really bad. They left it in bad shape, right? And I'll give you my story before I go into question number 2, because this is where I get most people. The one that I got was, well, Tristan, this one's going okay. But we've got another one that's terrible. I didn't even have to ask the second question. We've got another one that's not going so well. In fact, we want to sell it. We've been losing a lot of money on it because it's just for lease and we haven't been able to rent it. So that's how we got it. Great. I'll go take a look at it. That's how easy that was. A lot won't happen that way. You have to go through and follow up. But when they say things like, no, you know what? We've got it taken care of. I think we have somebody who's going to lease it, or we leased it. Then you're going to go to question number 2, which is, do you have any other rentals that are not as easy to lease or not as easy to rent? And they'll be like, well, this was the only one we own. Or, we do have a couple of other ones, but they're doing okay. Or, we do have like 4 other ones in the area, but one of them is a pain. Once the tenant leaves, we are thinking of selling it. That's your open door, right? Oh, tell me more about that. What's the address, right? Let me get some information on it. When does the lease end? Now, if they say, look, the other rental I have, or this is the only rental I have, the other rental I have is great, no problems, you're going to go into your third one. Third question is, great, sounds like you're all taken care of. Have you thought about buying any other rentals, investment properties, or anything like that? And then I get the answer. And I remember I'm in California, Los Angeles. People are like, nothing's affordable. If I invest in something, there's no way of getting money back, right? Or it's just not here, maybe somewhere else. And that's still an open door for me because I can connect them to somebody else. But I try in our area because equity has gone up dramatically just year over year for 30 years here. It's crazy. I always say, well, often some investors that come into California, they don't do it for the monthly income. They do it because the equity goes up higher. Tell me about the homes that you own right now. How much equity do you have in them? And then I just let them talk, right? Anyway, you can talk like that as you start talking to more investors. The point is, those are the 3 questions. But here's a follow-up sequence that I've got for you. Day 0, email rent versus sell report. And link to a 2-minute video explaining what the net sheet is. And if you don't know how to explain the net sheet, do yourself a favor and go to ChatGPT. It'll explain it for you and it'll simplify it and say, ChatGPT, we should have a name for ChatGPT, right? Like, let's come up with a name for it. But ChatGPT, talk to me like I'm a 6th grader and explain to me a net sheet. What am I looking for? And it'll tell you. And it'll do a really good job. Day number 3, text a recent just sold comp that matches their property, right? And this is a 14-day window. So if you talk to them and you're like, man, this is a really good one. I think we're going to do something with this one. This is when you start doing this. Day number 7, call to ask which scenario looks better, renting or selling. Now that we've talked, which one's looking better? Are you still thinking of maybe keeping that, holding on to it? Or maybe we go the other route. Day 14, offer a walkthrough or a Zoom to refine numbers and real photos, right? If you're going to do a walkthrough, take real pictures. Maybe I might have somebody, which you might, right? We do come across a lot of people. I realistically come through a lot of people online and in person that may be interested in this home that they're eventually going to sell if somebody's sitting in it right now. Now, here's some conversion tools. I call these conversion tools because these three things, I had ChatGPT refine them because sometimes my English is a little off. I'm like, speed, and it messes up everything. Conversion tools, Landlord FAQ cheat sheet. Explain what capital gains is. You know what the one thing in capital gains that sometimes these newer investors don't realize? When they move from their home to a new home and they keep that home and it's been 3 years and somebody's in it and I'm like, I don't want to be a tenant anymore. They can still sell it as their primary residence because it hasn't been, the 5 years haven't been up. They can still sell it and still net that amount for a married couple, right? $500,000 and not be taxed on it. No capital gains on it. Sometimes they don't know that, right? So I always ask, how long has it been? But anyways, FAQ, tenant notice rules, 1031 exchange options, all this stuff. Create the FAQ sheet on Gemini, on Claude, on ChatGPT. That's so easy. And you can make a PDF, throw it into Canva, make it look pretty. Case study, show a former for sale for rent by owner client who sold at top dollar. I personally love telling the story of the client that I got from Zillow, because they ended up getting, first off, we did lease that home that I called him on. He just said, dude, this is too much for me, lease it. I leased it. They gave me that second home to sell. And then they gave me a third to sell. And then I helped them purchase. I got a referral for it outside of California. They ended up going to Arkansas, somewhere over there. Number 5. Well, hold on. There's another piece to this. Under the conversion tools, repair bid packet. This is where pre-negotiated handyman quotes, the owners can offer buyers a front up to reduce their fear of inspection surprises. I include here more of a directory. So the repair bid packet, for me, the repair packet is not my idea. It's other investors that have said, hey, Tristan, do you have a repair bid packet? I love a directory, just a vendor directory. So if I'm talking to Joe or Joanne, I'm like, listen, I've got this great directory that I've put together, not only from the people that I know, but from our area here, people that have used these people that are trusted. I'm going to send this over to you. Take a look at it. And then this is where I also ask, well, you've got 3 or 4 or 5, a few properties. Who do you use for your repairs? Anybody stand out that I could use as well, that I could add to our list? Number 5, here's the objection handlers. Here are the ones that we've gotten. I only put 3. So when they say, listen, I want passive income. And I put that one for me because in our area, you can't get passive income unless you put a chunk of money down. And so I usually say, at your current rent versus today's interest rates, your cap rate is about X%. Selling now and reinvesting could raise that to Y%. Want to see those numbers? Or I say, hey, look, what if you combine 2 or 3 of these properties, sell them, 1031 exchange them, and maybe get something a little bigger that will have a bigger upside or even a bigger monthly lease amount, right? And there are those areas in our areas. Tenants have a lease. I like this one because I say, perfect. Many investors pay more for occupied properties with reliable tenants, right? Are they reliable? And then I have another one, market will keep going up. You can take a look at that one. And number 6, turn unsold leads into a pipeline. Here's where you have to say to whoever you're talking to, Joe or Joanne, thank you so much. Is it okay if I put you in our quarterly Landlord newsletter? Just updates you on the current market, if it's shifting, where it's going. And I can check in on you and see how everything's going with your tenants. And I'll send you my directory of home service providers, stuff like that. This is how you grow. Trust me when I tell you, this is one of our best sources for getting listings and adding people to our database that actually will sell or will buy property. Because it's what we've come to see through COVID. People bought property and now they're reluctant landlords are like, man, I wish I did not do that. Right? I see it all the time. I hear it all the time. This is brought to you by a brilliant tribe.com. Check us out. We'll talk to you again this whole week, next few days, just on seller stuff.